Have you ever wondered, why do humans keep searching for happiness? Only to face endless suffering again and again? Why do sadness and disappointment seem to return in cycles, as if we're trapped in a never-ending loop of existence? Perhaps life is a continuous swing between hope and despair, between desire and loss. More than 2.500 years ago, there was a man who asked himself these same profound questions. He renounced his royal title, left behind the palace, his beautiful wife, and beloved child, to embark on a journey in search of the ultimate truth of life. After years of ascetic practice and deep meditation, at the moment when the morning star appeared beneath the Bodhi tree, he attained enlightenment, realizing a profound truth that could end all suffering and liberate beings from the cycle of birth and death. That truth is the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are not mystical theories or abstract dogmas. They are a spiritual map, pointing the way out of suffering for anyone willing to pause, listen, and reflect deeply. If you've ever felt lost in life's chaos, if you've ever longed for peace in a world full of uncertainty and noise, then perhaps now is the moment to stop, open your heart, and enter the journey to discover these four profound truths. The very first truth the Buddha realized under the Bodhi tree was this: life is suffering, dukkha. But suffering here doesn't only mean physical pain or visible sadness. In Buddhist teaching, dukkha has a much broader meaning. It includes even the things we mistakenly consider to be happiness. Why? Because everything we cling to, youth, health, love, fame, is impermanent. And when we attach ourselves to what is fleeting, suffering inevitably follows. The Buddha explained that there are three types of suffering that exist in every human life. Suffering of suffering, dukkha, the obvious pain, illness, aging, death, and loss. Suffering of change, viparinama dukkha, the pain of impermanence, losing what once made us happy. Suffering of formation, sankhara dukkha, the subtle pain, the constant unrest of body and mind. Never fully at peace. Whether you are rich or poor, powerful or humble, educated or not, no one escapes these three forms of suffering. A child cries when they don't get the toy they want. An adult suffers when they lose someone they love. An elder regrets their youth and the things left undone. Suffering exists at every stage of life, from birth to death. But here's the important point: suffering doesn't arise on its own. It exists only when there is attachment, craving, and clinging in the mind. Suffering is not life's fault. It doesn't arise from external circumstances. It originates within the mind, from how we perceive life, from how we react to impermanence. The Buddha called this a noble truth, because once we see it clearly, we begin the journey of transforming our suffering. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with true wisdom, one grows weary of suffering. This is the path to purity. If the first noble truth helps us recognize the nature of suffering, then the second noble truth, Samudaya, origin, shines light on the root of suffering. The Buddha taught, whatever arises from causes can also be brought to an end. In other words, suffering is not fate. It can cease. Once we understand why it arises according to the Buddha, the root of suffering is craving, tanha, a deep thirst, a never-ending desire. We suffer when we don't get what we want. We suffer when we fear losing what we have. We suffer deeply when it's taken away. This craving isn't limited to material things like money, fame, or status. It hides even in small desires: a compliment, approval, a joyful moment we wish would never end. The second noble truth also reveals the three poisons that nourish suffering: greed, lobha, wanting, grasping, never feeling satisfied; hatred, dosa, anger, resentment, rejection of what is; delusion, moha, ignorance, not seeing the true nature of life. These three fires burn in our minds daily, causing suffering to arise again and again. Someone who doesn't see the root of their suffering often tries to avoid it, blaming others, escaping into pleasures, overworking, or punishing themselves. But suffering doesn't come from outside. It builds up inside, from feelings, thoughts, and habits we've carried for years. To heal, we must look inward. Just as a doctor must diagnose the cause of illness to offer a cure, so must we understand ourselves to overcome suffering. No fire burns like desire. No chains bind like delusion. If the first noble truth is the reality of suffering, and the second is its cause. Then the third noble truth, Nirodha, cessation, is the beacon of hope. Suffering can end. This is the liberating truth. The Buddha didn't just analyze pain or point out the cause, he went further. He declared, the cessation of suffering is possible, not only for Buddhas, but for anyone who practices the path rightly. Nirodha is not just a concept, it is a living experience. Something that anyone can feel in their daily life. When one lets go of craving, no longer controlled by anger or ignorance, they begin to experience peace, here and now. This is the state called nibbana, nirvana, not a place, but a stillness of the mind. A freedom from bondage. Nibbana is not reserved only for saints. You don't have to leave the world to taste it. A mother who cares for her child with loving kindness, without clinging, is touching nirvana. A person who forgives, who lets go of the past, is touching nirvana. Someone who lives mindfully amidst chaos is already walking the path of cessation. What the third noble truth teaches us is this. Right finger suffering is not eternal. Right finger, it is not the true nature of life. Just like clouds covering the sun, if we know how to observe and train the mind, the clouds will part, and the light will shine through. A mind free from greed, hatred, and delusion is nirvana here and now. After recognizing suffering, first noble truth. Understanding its cause, second. And believing it can be ended, third. The Buddha revealed a specific way to overcome it. It is the fourth noble truth, the Noble Eightfold Path. This is not a vague concept, but a clear, practical roadmap, guiding us step by step toward peace, insight, and liberation. The Noble Eightfold Path, Arya Atthangika Magga, includes 8 training elements. Right view, understanding clearly. Right thought, thinking rightly. Right speech, speaking truthfully. Right action, acting ethically. Right livelihood, earning honestly. Right effort, diligent striving. Right mindfulness, mindful awareness. Right concentration, deep mental focus. These 8 limbs are not separate, they work together like 8 spokes of a wheel, moving us toward inner freedom. Not everyone can leave home and live as a monk, but everyone can walk the Eightfold Path, right in the midst of daily life. A person who speaks kindly, right speech, lives honestly, right action, and observes their mind daily, right mindfulness, is already on the path to liberation. The Eightfold Path is not some lofty ideal. It's a way of mindful living, gradually leading us out of ignorance, beyond suffering, and into peace. Every day, every moment is a chance to practice, even if it's just one mindful breath, one kind act, one small letting go. The Noble Eightfold Path is the only way to purification, to overcome grief and sorrow, to end suffering, and realize nirvana. The 4 noble truths, simple yet profound, are not just for monastics, but are keys to living peacefully in the modern world. In today's noisy era, where people are swept up in storms of anxiety, stress, comparison, and loneliness, these truths remain a timeless compass, guiding us back to ourselves. In the Samudaya Nikaya, the Buddha once said, just as the elephant's footprint is the biggest of all, likewise, the 4 noble truths encompass all teachings. This means, even if you read hundreds of scriptures, without understanding the 4 noble truths, you have not truly entered the path of awakening. The 4 noble truths are like a map, but you must be the one who walks. No one can walk this path for you. You can listen to Dharma talks, read scriptures, feel inspired, but without practice, peace is only a fleeting dream. Start with the simple things. Contemplate your suffering. Instead of avoiding it, observe your mind when greed, anger, or delusion arise. Practice mindfulness while walking, sitting, eating, or lying down. Pause before reacting. Each small step, each moment of awareness, is the path of the Noble Eightfold Way. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, better than conquering 1,000 enemies in battle is conquering yourself. Dhammapada verse 103. The 4 noble truths show us how to conquer ourselves, not through force, but through understanding and compassion. You don't need to change the whole world. Just look deeply into yourself, and the world will begin to appear lighter, clearer, and filled with more love. You may not be a monk, may not meditate daily, or chant for hours, but if you can pause when the mind is restless, recognize the suffering within, and let go of a bit of clinging, then you are already living the Four Noble Truths when you accept that suffering is part of life. You stop running from it. You learn to face it. Breathe with it, listen to it, and eventually go beyond it. You don't let suffering control you. You become the master of your own mind. Modern life is chaotic. Work is stressful. Relationships are complex. Information overwhelms. But amidst all of it, the Four Noble Truths remain a steady anchor. You can practice right mindfulness while using social media. Apply right speech when talking to loved ones. Observe your mind during consumption, anger, or disappointment. Reflect on suffering, cause, cessation, path. In everyday moments, you don't have to completely change your life to practice the Dharma. You just need to look deeply into suffering, see its cause, believe in its end, and walk slowly, step by step, on that path. Even if slow or difficult, each step brings you closer to inner freedom. Like a thirsty person who finds a well and approaches to draw water. One who sees suffering, its cause, its end, and the path, will find the cool stream of liberation, dear friend. Perhaps you've listened to many talks. Maybe you've read countless books. But the most important question remains. Right finger, have you begun your own journey yet? The Four Noble Truths are not lofty philosophy to admire. They are a map for you to pick up and walk. You can begin today. Right where you are, right now, as you hear these words. A mindful breath, a loving smile, a thought without anger, an action with awareness. That is living Dharma. The path to liberation doesn't require you to abandon your family or give up everything. It simply asks you to return to yourself, to face suffering. Recognize its cause, believe in transformation, and walk patiently. Because enlightenment is not far away. It exists in every step you take, every choice you make, every thought you nurture, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. If one lives mindfully, they are walking the path of the noble ones. If you're suffering right now, remember, you are not alone. The Buddha was once like you. He experienced deeply human pain and found a way out. He left that light behind for you. The door is open. The path is clear. Now the question is, will you walk it? Start now, even if it's just one small step. Because every step in the Dharma is a step toward freedom. May you dwell in mindfulness, live with wisdom, and walk in compassion, transforming yourself and sharing peace with the world. Namo Buddha Shakyamuni.